Today's episode will be dedicated to discussing the latest news surrounding LA based duo Rio Costa. And if you're a fan of them, please stick around. This is All Gas, No Trash. My name's Adam, and welcome back to the program. And welcome to a brand new episode. Before we get underway, we do have to do the Game Rage No Curse Minute, where we kill the first 60 seconds of the program in order to play nice with the YouTube algorithm with no cursing and no swearing whatsoever. Because if I don't do this, I know I'll drop an F-bomb or two within the first 60 seconds, and that'll screw us over. But as usual, quick thanks to everybody that has been listening on RSS, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you've been listening. We appreciate it. Please continue to do so, especially those on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Our subscriptions have gone up. We want to give a quick thanks. Appreciate it. And we have more episodes for you on the way. And that'll be the Game Rage No Curse Minute. So let's get underway with the episode as it pertains to Rio Costa, the LA-based duo comprised of Mike Del Rio and Costa Gallinopoulos. Now, if you're not familiar with the lore, these two met at a festival and since then have been friends, or rather developed a friendship and created the band known as Rio Costa. Now, these two gentlemen have been no strangers to the music industry, as they've both been touring musicians for other bands, and they are producers themselves and multi-instrumentalists, very talented gentlemen. Although Rio Costa has been something that they've put on hold in order to pay for the bills and all that crap, but nonetheless, they have now created time to create this project called Unicorn, the LP, the debut LP from Rio Costa, and it has yielded some real fucking benefits. So let's go ahead and discuss that in the next segment. So there are some things to quickly mention first. For starters, Rio Costa is part of the Verdigris management / record label, where bands like Jungle are also featured, in addition to the side project called Loaded Honey, Caro Caro Bonito, Priya Ragu. And if you're familiar with any of those artists, that should tell you what caliber of band Rio Costa is. In addition, they are signed to the booking agency known as TBA, which also features bands like Julie and Hiatus Coyote. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but as far as what I could find, Rio Costa is part of the publisher known as Kid in a Corner. I think all three of those things have contributed to the success of Rio Costa. And for starters, they recently were placed on the official soundtrack for FC26, and for all intents and purposes, let's just call it FIFA 26. I think they had an issue with getting the license to call it FIFA 26, but that's a whole other subject to talk about. But yeah, it is great to see Rio Costa placed on the official soundtrack amongst all the other artists that are going to be featured. And yes, I mean, for someone like myself that used to play those games, the soundtrack definitely influenced some of my taste in music amongst the other people. I mean, people around the world that play the game. I'm sure they're going to be adding Mountaintop to their playlist, but it is a very cool thing to see. And I think what contributed directly to this, or what I imagine contributed directly to this, is the Kid in a Corner publisher, which I believe that Rio Costa is part of. Now, I don't know exactly how it works if a publisher directly has a sync agent, referring to somebody that goes out and tries to get whatever artist is part of the publisher to be featured on television or film or on video games. But man, it is fucking cool to see that, if I am to believe that Kid in a Corner contributed to this, it is so cool to see this band have their music on the official soundtrack. And, I'd be curious to see how something like that is negotiated, how somebody pitches to a music supervisor. Hey, I have this artist that I want to show you. I think they'd really work well with your video game, or I think it, add to the ambience or feel of the game itself. I just would love to find out what conversations are had via email or perhaps a phone call to call a music supervisor to find out if you can put a band like Rio Costa in the mix for a game like FC 26. But just one of the many good things that has happened to Rio Costa, which leads me to my next thing. Now, if you thought things haven't picked up quick enough for Rio Costa, then look no further than Rio Costa's It's Starting being featured on a Target commercial or Target ad for their fall clothing line. So if you've been paying attention to advertisements on television, if you have streaming services, maybe you have seen the latest Target commercials where you can see It's Starting from Rio Costa featured on these Target commercials, which is just befuddling to see with how quickly things have come together for Rio Costa. And I have to imagine, just like with the FC 26 or FIFA 26 sync into the official soundtrack, that Kid and a Quarter publisher, or if somebody that is a sync agent that is hired by the publisher to plug their music into commercials, film, television, whatever it might be, have also played a part in getting Rio Costa used on a major corporation, a major store within the US. It is just, I can't believe how quickly things have happened for Rio Costa, and this one just completely shocked me. Now, if you haven't checked out our episode with respect to Viva Pomona Fest and its lineup, well, you're in for yet another shocker, as Rio Costa will be playing said festival on November 22nd, which I believe is the first day of the 2-day festival, along with bands like Jelly Haha, The Tulips, 54 Ultra, AKBK, amongst many other bands. And I have to imagine that TBA agency played its role as the booking agent. Now, the reason that this festival is significant is because it is done in association with the Golden Voice promotion. And in some cases, for some of the bands that play, they will go on to play Coachella. And Golden Voice is the promotion that puts on the Coachella Festival, in addition to the venues that they own, including the Pomona Fox Theater, the Glass House, the Fonda Theater, and I forgot how many other venues they own. But in some cases, the bands that play at Viva Pomona Fest go on to play Coachella. Now, if you've checked out our previous episodes, I firmly believed, just based off of the music, that Rio Costa was a band that was going to play Coachella at some point. If not simply for their music, well, their booking agent will certainly play a role, because according to booking agent info in 2024, with respect to Coachella, as far as the lineup of the festival, TBA agency contributed 4% of their artists to the bill. So it's possible, and I don't know how quickly it'll happen, but the fact that Rio Costa is playing at Viva Pomona Fest is prologue for them to play at Coachella. And knowing that TBA agency has had a number of their artists featured at Coachella, then we have reason to believe that Rio Costa will eventually play Coachella at some point. How many years it'll take, I'm not entirely sure, but Viva Pomona Fest is one of the first steps. And lastly, one of the things that recently happened was Say Shishi held a release party, I believe somewhere in Los Angeles, and who else but Rio Costa showed up. And whether they have a mutual friend or know each other directly, it is rather intriguing to see Mike Del Rio and Costa Gallinopoulos taking a photo with Pia Maliki of Say Shishi. And it does make me wonder if there are implications about what could happen in the future. Perhaps we could see Rio Costa on a large tour with Seishishi, but that is yet to be seen. But nonetheless, there are so many things going on with RIO KOSTA, from having their music synced on commercials, video games, to playing Viva Pomona Fest, a precursor to Coachella, that this band has gotten its ducks in a row. It has lined up the dominoes to knock over for their own success. And to say that it's only happened within a span of 3 months, and maybe that is not entirely true, because as I previously mentioned, RIO KOSTA have been active musicians for years. It has just been recently that they have put time aside to make the RIO KOSTA project happen, and look where they are now. Since their release of their debut album, they've had all these things happen, and the sky is the fucking limit for this band. Who knows how long it'll take before they take over the world. It has been a real treat to see this whole thing unfold. As many of you know, that I have posted their set on our playlist for live performances that you can check out and see that it is one, if not the only, video of their live set at the Zebulon for their debut album release. Check it out. Anyways, this is the end of the episode. I just wanted to fill you in on the latest info surrounding RIO KOSTA, and that'll be it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like I said, we have more episodes for you on the way, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you all next time.